When I was in college, my freshman year, I'm going into my sophomore year now, but during my freshman year, I did not have a job on campus. I had a summer job. I had been working it during my senior year of high school as well. I was there since I was 16. I never really enjoyed my job, but over time, you kind of get used to the grind. You get used to working. It's my first job. I've still never had another job. After, during the summer break, I had to return to work, obviously, because I don't want to go broke. And I knew that I was going to dread working there, but the first couple weeks that I was back, like the first 2 or 3 weeks, it honestly wasn't that bad. I wasn't enjoying it, but it wasn't miserable. But as I've been there longer and longer now during the summer, I've kind of remembered why I dreaded working so much. And it's just like really made me think about like why, like what makes working retail so miserable. And I've kind of chalked it up to a couple things. Like for one of my main issues with working there is that like a lot of customers, it feels like it's their first day on Earth. Like they just don't know what's going on at all. And I don't really understand that. But I think the thing that really bothers me the most is that I end up interacting with a lot of people that I would have no reason to even see in my life if it wasn't for working at this place. And I mean, I guess it's not a good, I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm meeting new types of people, but at the same time, it kind of makes me uncomfortable in a way where like I always feel like uneasy at work because there's just like no familiarity, even though I've been going there for 3 years because, it's my job. I mean, I've spent thousands of hours in this place, but I still feel so uncomfortable in there because like the people there are so unpredictable. For example, the other day I was talking to one of my coworkers and I was stocking with him that day. That's not my job, but I was helping him stock that day. And he was talking to another coworker about how he almost got in a fight with someone who had been recently fired. My coworker Rich has just been like a temporary manager because, oh God, he's been a temporary manager because the other manager was on vacation, I believe. And so he had kind of stepped up into the role while the manager was on leave. And I had this other coworker, his name was Mike, and he was always really nice to me. He was actually the very first person that ever spoke to me when I got to work. But every other person who works at the store with me has told me the same thing, which is that they really don't like Mike. They think that he's a creep. He does a lot of things that you shouldn't do at work. And I can understand that, but he was always nice to me. I was always nice to him, and whatever he does on his own time, even though it's technically on company time, that's not for me to worry about. But my coworker Rich was telling me that one of the days that he was manager, he asked Mike if he could help him unload some stuff and if he could stock an aisle. And Mike said, "Nah, I'm not doing that." And Rich was trying to be polite to him, and he was like, "Look, man, I need you to do this for me, please. Like, this is your job after all." And that Mike got kind of like angry with him, and he got unreasonably upset, and that it kind of stemmed into like an actual argument where Mike was like, "Nah, man, I'm done with this place. I quit." And when he was about to quit, he kind of started rushing at Rich like he was gonna fight him. And I mean, Mike's not a big dude, and Rich isn't exactly huge either. But Rich is, he's got some muscle on him, and I think Rich knew that, so he kind of told Mike like, "Go ahead, do it then. Like, I see what happens." No, Mike stormed out, and yeah, he did quit the job. But here's the thing: my last shift that I was working, Mike came in, and I thought that was interesting because one of the things that Mike had said was that he hated everyone at the store, everyone hated him, no one liked him there. He felt so like he felt so alone, and I mean I can kind of understand where he was coming from, but at the same time, if they were all considering him a creep, I guess it was kind of on him. Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of the whole situation just kind of rubs me the wrong way, where it's like when you're working at a place like this and you meet all these people, like you do meet a lot of not good people. Like a lot of the people there are just simply bad people, and I wouldn't tell that to their face, and I'm not gonna name any specific names, but like I don't know, everyone there like for example, one of my greatest fears is being stuck working at this store for the rest of my life. And not to call everyone who works there a failure, but a lot of these people, it's like, what what is the direction that you want to take your life in? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're a cashier, and some of these people are 60 years old, so maybe they're retired, but what about the people who are just a couple years older than me? Like, where are you going in life? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just like a lot of times when they call other people out for being lazy or, for being bad employees, it just kind of like makes me a little bit angry when I think about it because like you're 28 years old and you're a cashier and you're up here standing at the customer service desk talking with your coworkers instead of doing your job. And it's like, who are you to call someone out like Mike? And this is not to hate on Rich either, because Rich himself, he's a really hard worker and he's also a good guy. Like, Rich is kind of like Josh, if you guys remember from my last video that I talked about my job, where he is nice to everyone. Even if he doesn't like them, he's still nice to them. And the only reason that he got so angry with Mike is because he was kind of pushing him too far. But like, there are a lot of people there that are just not good people. And a lot of hypocrites. And maybe I'm a hypocrite here because obviously you're only hearing my perspective, and I could be a lazy coworker, I could be bad at my job. But another example is like my manager was never supposed to be a manager in the first place. So when I first started there, I had a different manager, and she unexpectedly left the store, and so my current manager was kind of like thrust into the role. But for some reason, she gets the pay and she gets the increased workload, but she doesn't get a lot of the privileges that a manager gets. Like, she can't make the schedules. Like, she is literally the manager of my department, and she's not allowed to make our schedules. And so last week, I only got 2 days the entire week, and she only got four, and this is her full-time job. And she was like, she went to the managers, and I was standing with her because I was also concerned, like, why am I only getting 16 hours? Um, and the big managers, the head honchos, kind of brushed her off. And she was like understandably angry. I can understand why she was angry, but it also is like I don't really know. I mean, it's like, what do you expect? I guess like not to be rude to her because she's always, she's again, she's one of those employees that is really good at her job, and she does what's asked of her. But one of the things that she was saying was that like she's not here to make friends, she's just here to come to work. If she makes friends, that's fine, whatever. But it's like when you say the things like that, the managers don't hear, they only listen whenever it's actually about them. So like if I were to come to them and say like, I think you guys are not giving me enough hours, they're not going to care. But if I come to them and I'm like, I feel like I should have planned this video out better. I feel like I'm just rambling here. Look, I mean, to really just sum up my point, like it all just comes down to a lot of the people who work in retail at that age are there for a reason. They're there because they didn't know what they want to do with their life. They're just okay with being stuck at that mid-level forever, and that's not something that I'm okay with. And it's something that makes me really nervous because what if I do end up being like them? What if I end up being a 32-year-old who still works an entry-level job for barely above minimum wage, like forever? Like that could be me forever, and that's just not something I look forward to. And a lot of times these people who work with me, like, okay, so for example, I just took a 10-month break from the job because I was at school. And instead of transferring, I just decided like I'm gonna just take a nice little break from work. I have some savings. I'm gonna take a break. I'm just gonna focus on school, and I'm glad I did that. But there were some people who had left, and by the time I came back from my 10-month break, they had returned. And it's just like, what has to go wrong in life for you to end up returning to not a good job? Like, what has to go wrong in life for you to stay at a job that hates you? Like, my manager, she trained me when I first started, when I was 16 years old. She trained me. She told me she was going to be gone by August. I started that job in July. She was like, yeah, I'm probably going to quit in August. Then she said she was going to quit in October. And now she's been there for a whole nother 3 years. And it's like, if you hate it so much, just leave. And I mean, again, I'm not hating on her at all. I'm just, she's a good manager. But it's like, you're not trapped here. So why do people keep coming back to like mediocrity? Like why not try? Why not try and move somewhere? Like another one of my coworkers has been there for like 10 years. She's only like 27 years old. She's been there for ages, and she keeps saying she's like in school, but it's like she's going to an online school and she does her homework on the clock. Sometimes I'm helping her with her homework, and it's just like, are you really expecting to leave this place and get a better job when you can't even do like basic algebra? I don't know. It really makes me scared. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. This video didn't really have much direction, and I don't want to wrap it up so quickly. Maybe I can make a better planned video, but like this channel really comes down to getting things off my chest, and so this is just gonna be one of those videos where I just needed to talk, maybe just get it, get my mind uh, more organized with my thoughts, I guess. So, you know, a couple things about the channel before I wrap this video up. The last video I posted got one singular view, and it was me. I don't really know what happened. I debated taking a break to like figure out how I can make better content. When I thought about it, I mean, I've got, this channel's brand spanking new, and I'm not really out here doing it for the views. I'm like, when people comment, that's what it's really about for me, when I can interact with more people. But at the end of the day, I made this channel to vent. I made this channel to get things off my chest. Um, and if I'm stuck at 14 subscribers for the rest of my life, I'll probably keep returning to this channel regardless. So, to those of you stuck around, thank you so much. To those of you who are new, welcome. Um, I'm planning on making more of this style of content where it's more rambling, but I've definitely got some more story times ready to go whenever I have the stories all put together. But yeah, I've got a lot more stories to come. So yeah, thank you guys for the support. I appreciate it. You can check out my last video if you want, since it flopped so bad, but if not, there's more in the future. I upload every Sunday, 1 p.m. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for listening. Peace out.